BUY Tyus Jones. The seventh-year point guard out of Duke is a smash buy in Dynasty, and let me tell you why. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Triple Play Fantasy YouTube channel. I'm your host here, Jacob Dunne, and today I'm going to do my best to convince you to buy Tyus Jones in your Dynasty League. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Mr. Jones has now played 7 seasons in the NBA despite only being 25 years old. During his lone season at Duke back in 2014-15, Jones averaged 11.8 points, 5.6 dimes, 3.5 rebounds, 1.5 steals, and 1.2 threes across 39 games. He went on to enter the NBA draft and was selected 24th overall to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he spent 4 years behind point guard studs Ricky Rubio and Zach LaVine. He goes on to sign a very team-friendly 3-year contract worth $8.8 million a season to be the backup yet again. And he has absolutely thrived in Memphis and has become one of, if not the best backup point guard in the NBA. And he always performs when his name is called as a starter. So in the 23 games Tyus Jones started for the injured Ja Morant this season, the 25-year-old averaged 12.7 points on 45% field goal shooting while going 83.8% from the charity stripe, 6.6 dimes, 3.2 rebounds, 1.6 threes, 1.2 steals, and 29 fantasy points per game. Now, the fantasy points are based on Yahoo's standard points league, where points are worth 1 point, rebounds are 1.2, assists are 1.5, block shots are 3, steals are 3, and turnovers are -1. So Jones averaged just 1 turnover a game during his time as the starter. Now, you're probably thinking, Jacob, why would I want to trade for a backup point guard? Well, as you can see here, Tyus Jones is set to become an unrestricted free agent this summer, which means Jones will be a classic free agent and can sign with whoever he wants. Jones has proven to be worth much more than the 3-year, $8.8 million per year contract he signed back in 2019. And I don't think the Grizzlies can afford to pay $14+ million a year for a backup point guard, especially with Jaren Jackson Jr.'s 4-year deal kicking in next season and Ja Morant due for an extension that's estimated as a 5-year deal worth $217 million. All right. It's also a light point guard market in free agency, and many NBA teams could use Jones's services to quarterback their team. All right. He's only 25 years old and plays like a 30+ year old veteran. Okay, so here are some teams who could use Jones's services. Now, if you think about it, these teams don't have a traditional point guard. All of these teams have been makeshifting shooting guards and point forwards into the point guard position. But think about how much better a team like Boston would be if they signed a steady veteran like Jones to quarterback their team. All right, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can go back to their natural positions, and I believe this would make them perennial favorites in the Eastern Conference. Okay, so maybe the Grizzlies find a way to bring Jones back in as their backup point guard. But now is the time for Tyus to cash in, as he's playing the best basketball of his career. Okay, I'm banking on Tyus securing the bag this summer and landing a starting point guard gig. Okay, now is the time to roll the dice as dynasty managers and gamble that Jones finds another home this offseason. Because if he does, you have an instant top 75 9-cat fantasy stud and easily a top 100 points league guy for 3+ years. All right, his price is dirt cheap right now and will skyrocket if he signs with another team this summer. So go grab Jones for cheap and cross your fingers. And hey, at the very least, you'll have Ja Morant's insurance policy. So if Morant goes down with an injury, like he did in the 21-22 season, you'll be able to sell Jones high to that manager. But for all of the aforementioned reasons I stated in this video, buy Tyus Jones before it's too late. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the Triple Play Fantasy YouTube channel and like this video if you enjoyed today's content, and comment if you're buying Tyus Jones. All right. Also, if you're interested in my top 400 Dynasty rankings, there's a link to the Triple Play Fantasy Patreon in the description below. I update those bad boys every month and all throughout the off season. All right. And lastly, you can find me on Twitter at Ain't Dunne Yet, and Dunne is spelled Dunne. And until the next video, God bless and cheers.